Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Tinkerbell. This is the 2008 three-dimensional animated. It's not 3D, but it's 3D animated film. It's an hour and 21 minutes, and it is uh, a little girl's Tinkerbell dream, or a little boy's Tinkerbell dream. I don't know. Whoever loves Tinkerbell. This actually is kind of an origin story for her. It gives us an idea of what the world of Pixie Hollow looks like and what pixies do. What's their purpose? Why do they exist? Basically they're in charge of keeping nature in order, um, waking up the animals after a long winter's nap, uh, feeding them, teaching birds how to fly, also helping to spread the seeds and making things grow and adding color to the world, painting every single leaf when it comes to autumn, uh, just all sorts of stuff. They're actually separated into different houses or tribes, much like Harry Potter and also like Avatar, The Last Airbender, those kind of things. Fire and water and earth and all that stuff, and then Slytherin and Hufflepuff and everything else. There's a hierarchy, there's a structure, and everybody sort of gets born fully formed, maybe a little bit smaller than they grow up to be. But when Tinkerbell, we get to see the birth of Tinkerbell as a baby's laugh. The baby's first laugh creates a pixie, and it it's a bit more involved than that. But yeah, I don't have any mommy and daddy pixies getting together and making baby pixies. That's not a situation. That's not how it works. This movie will inform you how it all comes together. So we see Tinker Bell get born in a sense, and fully formed, speaking, trying to understand, and like literally a minute later she's given her purpose, and it's sort of a sorting hat situation where she sees different elements and things in front of her, different aspects of the different tribes within Pixie Hollow, and one specifically calls out to her. It's a hammer. Was it a hammer or is it a cudgel? Not a cudgel. Cudgel's more of a weapon, but it's something. Calls to her and says, "Hey, you know what? You're part of the inventors, the creators, the builders of this thing, and it's not as glamorous as, say, painting leaves and painting the ladybugs and doing stuff with water and flying really fast or anything else. It is pretty much being down in the trenches, tinkering. That's how she gets her name, Tinker Bell, Tinker Girl, Inventor Girl. That's who she is. That's what the name comes from, apparently. I'm sure it's not exactly what it was meant to be in the very beginning from Mr. Barry, but yeah, it's sort of, I think, gives an inspiration. It's meant to give inspiration to kids watching this, going, "Hey, you know what? There might be a purpose in your life, something that you may not expect, something you may not even want." Like Tinkerbell immediately is like, "Oh man, she meets all these great friends with all these great abilities, and they can do all these things, and they get to go to the mainland, to the real world where all their work comes to fruition. They get to see the things that they do change the world on a regular basis." Meanwhile, the Tinkers, they're never supposed to leave Pixie Hollow, and they have their nose to the grindstone, building out things that help make work easier for the other pixies. You think it's just all flying around and throwing pixie dust around? No, it's a working community. It might even be communist. I don't know. I don't. I guess they're all fed and housed. Like, she gets a free house immediately upon arriving. You know, as one does when they're born. I don't know. Anyway, she she has a little bit of problem with what's been chosen for her, what has called out to her, but she's clearly very good at it. She's finding different things that come over from the mainland on Pixie Hollow, like buttons and leaves, and even a music box that certain things just come together. She looks at these things and she builds them into something else that could be useful. Not always. She's still learning and trying to understand, but she's kind of wanting to step out of the role that's expected of her and join up with her cool friends. Even the even cooler Slytherin type chick, Vidya is her name. By the way, I'm going to get to the cast list. It's an astounding cast of women in this thing. But Vidya is kind of like the I'm a snob and I do things better and everybody needs me. Vidya manipulates Tinkerbell into doing things that could mess things up horribly, and she does. So yes, I ruined a lot of the plot, but you don't exactly know how. By the way, there are elements of humor. Yes, this is very much meant for kids. This is it's like a Disney Junior type of thing. It's not going to be incredibly clever from an adult perspective, but it's not painful to watch. There is actual bits of humor that I actually laughed out loud at when Tinker puts together a thing that shoots acorns, I guess, for some reason. It just starts going wild and shooting into the crowd, and the crowd parts and it hits a squirrel square in the forehead, and it just sits there stunned, and it starts crying. The way they animated it is, to me, the funniest thing in this entire film. Yes, there's little bits of humor that it's not mature humor. It's a bit smarter. It's a bit more. Honestly, it's how the squirrel, the pause came. It wasn't exactly a cartoonish freak out like you see in. You know how every time there's in a live action Disney Channel type series, when something weird happens, all the kids have to go ah or some stupid thing. This is better. This is the squirrel could have just fallen over, or it could have just been a total freak out. But it's the pause, like, how could you hurt me this way? And then just breaking down in tears. It's beautifully done. Watch it just for that scene. If you don't want to watch anything else, it's just really funny. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I have no idea. I really liked it. You may think it's stupid. Doesn't matter. I'm the one talking. Anyway, the cast in this is pretty amazing. Mae Whitman, who has voiced Tinkerbell, I think, through a number of these. This movie, obviously, and the spin-offs that have come from it, the sequels that have come from it since then. Mae Whitman, you might know her as George Michael's very bland, forgettable girlfriend on Arrested Development, but she's also Ramona's one of Ramona's evil exes in the Scott Pilgrim movie, which also stars, why can't I say his name, from Arrested Development, George Michael. She's also the one of Ramona's evil exes in the Scott Pilgrim movie. So yeah, if you don't know what that is, I'm sorry, but Mae Whitman adds a lot of character and empathy to the Tinkerbell character. It's not just a one-dimensional, one-note kind of thing, like, hey, here's pixie dust, or I'm jealous of Wendy because Peter's spending time with Wendy, which comes into play, obviously, in the original Peter Pan movie, but yeah, she's more than just a jealous little tiny person. So, we also have, as her best friends, Rosetta is played by Kristen Chenoweth, Wicked, and Pushing Daisies and everything else, and she's a powerhouse singer. Raven-Symone is Iridessa. Iridessa. I gotta get these names right. Lucy Liu is Silver Mist, and America Ferrera, most recently from Cloud9 from Superstore, is Fawn, and Angelica Houston is the queen of Pixie Hollow. Holy cow! Rob Paulson, of course, shows up. He is in every Disney thing because he's a master of voices. And you gotta always mention my favorite, Pamela Adlon. She is Vidya. She plays the bad guy. I mean, she's the voice of Bobby Hill. And she also has a show called Better Things, which I highly recommend for adults. For adults, not for children. It's on Hulu right now, which is owned by Disney. So yeah, it's a humongous amount of talent. Great voices, Kathy and Jimmy. There's a lot, a lot of people in this. So it's not a musical, by the way. It's there's no singing. There's no where is the problem I'm having? Why am I not? It's not that. There's no song about why she's not who she thinks she is and where's she gonna find her destiny. None of that stuff. It's just story, 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 and little humorous bits, and you get to see the inner workings of the small, tiny world that they live in, and the purpose of the pixie. So yeah, it's nothing I'm ever gonna watch again. But for kids, it's not a bad offering from Disney, and I think that's why there's a lot of kids, especially if you've seen Peter Pan and you want to know more about this little tiny girl with wings. Here it is. This is what Disney's telling you is the origin and reality of our little tiny pixie Tinkerbell. And for me, it's kind of. I mean, I realized we watched one of the sequels previously, like months ago, like last year or something like that. And that had an origin of a different Peter Pan character, which I will not spoil. But this is Tinkerbell's story, and I was surprised at how much I liked it. That actually had logic to it. It's not just, hey, I'm a fairy now, or I'm a pixie, and stuff happens. Girly stuff happens that sells toys or costumes or whatever it is. It's obviously it does that, but hey, it's a little bit more than that. So cool, great world building, guys, gals, everybody. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
72.
72. Wow, that's dropping way low. 72. Okay, it's another movie, and I don't know what this is. It says it's a movie. They could be lying to me again. But it's a single word with an exclamation point at the end. 72 is Brink. Brink. Some of you might know what that is. I do not. I am an old man. Because if it was made and put on the Disney Channel in the last 20 years, 30 years, I have not seen it. Probably. So, Brink on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I will see you tomorrow with that.